that has been kept well, the tenants will be happy. As a result of tenants being happy, you get longer standing tenants, which means that less voids, higher cash flow. Hi guys, it's Arsh Ellahi, and today I just wanted to give you some top tips as to how I've managed to build and scale a business, and also how to systemize it, and all doing it so that I can literally just sit at my desk and not have to worry about things that are going on in my day-to-day property business, and it allows me to concentrate on other sectors of the business that I'm trying to scale and grow as well. So step number one is I'm going to concentrate on HMOs for this side of it. So if we're talking about systemizing HMOs, now I think I've already previously just spoke about the power of a master key and a master key system. You need to make sure that you've got something in place where that you've got a key, and one key which would take you around the whole place and your whole portfolio, so that you're not having to waste a load of time trying to find the correct key for that property and also the specific room that you're trying to get into. It wastes a lot of time, and not only that, it's not as expensive as you think it may be. I'll do a quick shot of a backup of the wardrobe of keys that we've got, which are the backup keys should I ever lose the master key, or there be an issue that I need to get access and I don't have the master key to hand. But the master key is a phenomenal system. Now, we live in this world of technology where master key could be developed further into smart locks. Smart locks are the key, the locks where you can potentially digitally get yourself into a property either with a mobile phone or with just simply a code. And again, these are phenomenal systems that you can have in place where it doesn't cost the earth and it saves you a shed load of time. Now, tip number two, when it comes to HMOs, is that in order for you to make sure that your HMO is running harmoniously, I would always suggest that you have a WhatsApp group. Now, a WhatsApp group with all the tenants in. Now, you've got to make sure that they've given consent for them to be in that WhatsApp group under GDPR new legislation. But the one thing that you need to do is get a WhatsApp group for that specific property. So let's just say, for argument's sake, 26 Merridale Road, and that's based in Wolverhampton. It's a property that I own. When a tenant signs up, not only do they sign up to us being able to hold their data, but also allowing them to communicate with other members in the house electronically via the WhatsApp group. So everyone's in that WhatsApp group. So it gives them an opportunity to communicate with each other. So they've got each other's phone numbers. More importantly, if there's an issue with that property, they can literally, in the WhatsApp group, there'll be me or my manager or my property managers are in that group, and then there'll be the maintenance guys and there'll be the tenants. So if there's an issue with that property, one of the tenants or all of the tenants may be able to comment and say, guys, okay, the boiler's not working, or something's happened, the shower's leaking, etc., etc. As a result, they put it into that WhatsApp group. As a result of putting it in that WhatsApp group, the maintenance guys will be able to see it. As well as that, the property managers will be able to see it, and as a result, it will get dealt with quickly and efficiently. So that as a result of having a property that is up to, that has been kept well, the tenants will be happy. As a result of tenants being happy, you get longer standing tenants, which means that less voids, higher cash flow. Now, step number three that we're going to be looking at is what steps that you have in place for management. Now, I appreciate that not everyone can have a team that can manage their properties for them, like I've got. However, what you can do is ensure that the managers that you've got in place are the correct ones from day one. So understanding who the managing agents are. More importantly, looking at how many HMOs they're currently managing, and that's a key question. The reason why it's a key question is because if they've got 30 other HMOs on their books, how much attention is actually going to be paid to your HMO? And more importantly, you've got to have a look at how many rooms are they advertising at any one point. Because if you've got one vacancy and there's one vacancy out of 30, chances are that if they've got 30 vacancies, they're going to try and fill as many as quickly as possible, but you're in quite a competitive marketplace. You need to have a look at the experience of the agents as well. Who are they? What do they do? How long have they been running? Do they own properties themselves? Are they landlords themselves? Are they investors themselves? Because this allows you to build rapport, because you need confidence in that agency managing your property, especially if you're based, let's just say for argument's sake, you're based in London. The property is in Middlesbrough, for argument's sake. It's quite a distance. Now, if there's an issue, you don't want the tenants really contacting you. However, if they can't get hold of the agent, or the agent's not fulfilling their duty, naturally the tenants are going to try and contact someone to resolve the issue. And this is where you then start moving from the realms of being a property owner to almost like a kindergarten teacher, or almost like a nursery teacher, because the tenants are going to be calling and say, he said this, she said that, the agent said, no, I haven't, this, that and the other. And all of a sudden you're then having to be the ringleader to make sure that all the parties are communicating with one another efficiently. That's why stuff like the WhatsApp group is absolutely key. Now, one thing that I do in all of my HMOs, and this is tip number 4, is see if you can allocate a tenant as a head tenant. When we say a head tenant, so I've got in West Bromwich, I've got a 23-bedroom HMO, and so it's very rare that I visit that HMO. When I say visit that HMO, it's being managed. I've got the guys in the office that manage it, but it's rare that I will physically go and visit the property. Now, what I did is that when I set this up, I bought it in 2005. And as a result, when I turned it into a 23-bed HMO, I've had a head tenant in there. And that head tenant is actually acting as the eyes and the ears for me on the ground in that property. So not only do they now do the viewings for me, they also choose the tenants for me. They also do the paperwork for me. They email that all back into our office. Our office gets it checked before any keys are handed over to a new tenant. All the rent is collected by that tenant, by that head tenant. And any maintenance or anything is first reported to the head tenant before it's reported back to the office. And as a result, that one head tenant gets a reduction in rent as a result of their involvement in the property, and it works really, really well. Now, regardless whether you've got a 4-bed HMO, regardless whether you've got a 40 or a 100-bed HMO, I would always recommend that you have a head tenant, because that's that one person that you can go to. And for argument's sake, in my 23-bed, I can pick up the phone to Martin and say, Martin, okay, how's things gone on the weekend? Everything okay? Any issues that you need to report? Arsh, and he goes, Arsh, no issues. He goes, this guy's paid rent, this guy's paid rent, this guy's paid rent, this guy's paid rent. And I said, okay, fine. Do you mind banking it for me? So he knows how to do the banking. So he's got he's got paying book for us, and he goes to the Lloyds Bank in West Bromwich. He deposits the funds into the account. We can see it then on our online banking, and he sends us a message to confirm which tenants it has been allocated for, and it works extremely well. And especially if you're self-managing from a distance, that's something that I really suggest that you do. You may get one tenant that has been has been with you a long time, and you trust them, and you know that they can do the job for you. It saves you a lot, and in essence, it could cut out the role of a letting agency. So my tenant in West Bromwich, if a tenant calls my office and they say we're interested in a room, next thing that we'll do, we'll call Martin and we'll arrange a viewing for that tenant. Now the tenant will then go and view the property. Martin will show them around the property. He'll interview them. He'll see if he thinks that he can live with that tenant, because remember, I'm not the person that's living in the property. I want to make sure that my tenants are happy with the other people that we're putting into a property. So who would be best to interview them than the person that's going to be living with them? So Martin interviews them, and he calls me. He goes, Arsh, yeah, I think he's a nice guy. Or sometimes he said to me, Arsh, he goes, I'm not 100% sure about this one. I said to Martin, if you're not 100% sure about it, don't panic. He's not coming in. We'll find someone else, and we'll go from there. I respect his position in the property. I respect the fact that he's doing a fantastic job for me. And if he doesn't think they're right for him, remember, he's got to live in that property with them, although be it in separate rooms, and it works extremely well. As a result of him showing the property, he then does he does the viewings, and because he lives in the property, he can do viewings right up to 8 o'clock at night and as early as 7 o'clock in the morning. We've done that before. So if a tenant needs to be at work for 9 o'clock and the earliest that they can get there, or the only time that they can get there is either 7 o'clock in the morning or after work at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, if I was self-managing it, now I would have to go over there, which may be an hour's drive there, hour's drive back. And let's face it, agents aren't going to do viewings at 7 o'clock in the evening, nor are they going to do a viewing at 7 o'clock in the morning. So as a result, having someone on the ground with their eyes and ears on the ground in that property is fantastic, and they have the key to the empty room. And as a result, it works really well. I never give them the master key, because that if there's ever a case of a theft or something like that, I wouldn't want Martin to be in the firing line for them to say that we believe he's been in the room and he's done that and that. So we protect him extremely well. Now, finally, the tip number 5, which I've got to say, is that when it comes to tenants, now I treat this almost like a shop, because without tenants, we have nothing. Without tenants, we have no income. Without tenants, we have no rooms occupied. Without no rooms occupied, we have no income, which means that we have no cash flow, which means that the property is no longer an asset, it's now become a liability. Now, as a result, one thing that we do is that for every tenant that contacts us, I try to create almost like a tenant database, so people constantly looking. And as a result, every time a property becomes vacant, the first thing that we do is we contact all the people that have previously contacted us within the last month. Best way that you can do this, and a very quick, short tip for you to do this, go on Spare Room. Now, on spareroom.co.uk, you can see all the properties wanted, and then all the properties that are being offered. And then on the other tab, you can see all the people looking. Now, if you look at all the people looking in your location, let's just say for argument's sake, there's 20 rooms being offered and 40 people looking. Technically speaking, if you contact all the 40 people and say, guys, okay, we understand that you're looking and we may have a property available at the moment, would you like to have a look at it? We find that we fill them quite quickly. As opposed to wait for the phone to ring, we're the person making the call. And that's the way that I like to run our business. I like to make sure that we've got people on the phone calling them saying, John, we've seen that you're looking on Spare Room. We've got a room here. Could this be of interest? If so, we'll send you a copy. We'll send you a link of it. If so, we can arrange a viewing with the head tenant, and it all works forward that way. And we keep their phone number on the system. We keep with GDPR. We ask for their permission, and we keep their phone number on the system. And then every once a month, we just send them a text saying, guys, here's a list of all the properties that we've got available at the moment. Is there something that of interest? Please feel free to get in contact. And that way, we save a shed load of money on marketing as well, because if we're constantly pitching to people who are looking, as opposed to constantly placing adverts waiting for people to look and then call us, we never know how long it's going to take for that advert for that room to fill, because we need to make sure that the advert goes out. The advert goes out in let's say the newspaper every Wednesday. As a result of it, on Wednesday, we don't know who's going to call us, what, where and when. Whereas if we're in contact and we know that there's 40 people looking, as well as that, let's just use for argument's sake Wolverhampton as an example. Now, in Spare Room in Wolverhampton, there's 28 rooms being offered, and I think there's 73 people looking. So we look at the 73 people, we try and attract as many of those as possible. And then on top of that, we then go a half a mile radius or a mile radius out of Wolverhampton. And we even contact all those people and say, guys, we understand that you're looking a mile out of Wolverhampton. Now, the reason for contacting us is because we may have something available in Wolverhampton. Would this be of any use to you? Or do you believe that this is too far out of the parameter where you're looking? And, I would say about out of 4 out of 10, we managed to get a 40% hit rate, that with people saying, you know what, we were looking a little bit closer to where we wanted to be, but if you've got something nice in Wolverhampton, we'll consider that. So in that respect, it does work. More importantly, the marketing budget is zero, because the people looking at action online, and you can do this on lots of websites. Now, finally, the one thing I'll say is that you've got to put yourself in the position of a tenant. So you're the owner of the property and you think your property is the best thing since sliced bread, and every owner thinks that. Now, one thing that you've got to do is you've got to you've got to remove yourself away from that and the mindset of that, and then you've got to put yourself in a position of a tenant and think, well, hang on, if I was a tenant, how would my property look in terms of that, in terms of look, feel, and also from a financial point of view? Am I too expensive? And one of the videos that I'll be creating over the next few months is how to compare yourself against your competitors and how this can work in your favour. So by doing a bit of creative marketing on your property, you can be perceived as the best value property and the best property in your location without actually having to do a great deal more work, but literally just by playing around with your adverts and being creative with your approach and how your tenants approach you. So guys, hopefully you found this little snippet of information of use, how you can systemize your business. It really is simple. All it does take, if you've got HMOs, my 23-bed HMO takes me approximately 20 minutes a week. If that, and that 20 minutes is not running around trying to chase people, that 20 minutes is literally speaking to my head tenant and saying, Martin, how have you got on? Is there any issues? I'll probably be in contact with him 2 or 3 times a week, and that's about it. He'll call me if there's any real emergencies, and he'll keep me up to date as to what's going on in that property. So, and you can do this, and that's allowed me to systemize my business. It's allowed me to scale my business so that I can continuously go out, keep buying more properties, finding more people like Martin to live in them. And I've got lots of head tenants, and treat them well and they'll live with you for life. Martin's been with me for 12 years. I've got other tenants. I was just speaking to some of the guys outside. I've had one tenant that's been with me 38 years. I had other tenants that have been with me 20 years. And these are guys that treat them well and they'll be with you for life. More importantly, if they're with you on a long-term basis, think that there's no marketing costs, there's no voids, there's no bad debt, and it works really, really well. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. As always, please comment below. If you've got any questions you want to ask away, please feel free to ask away. More importantly, if you've liked the video and you want to hear more from me and some of the other videos that I do, click on the notifications bell in YouTube and you get notified every time I release a new video. We release videos every Monday and every Wednesday. So we've got Money Making Monday and Wisdom Wednesday. So if you like the thought of that, and then finally, if you like the thought of all that and you want to connect with me on social media, please do so on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, on Instagram. So all the links to all my social media links are there, and I look forward to speaking with you and also working with you. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.